What's something you'd love to see but won't be alive for? The discovery of intelligent extraterrestrial life. I'd love to see a day that renewable energy is so efficient and cost-effective that every building can generate its own energy supply. The Earth's magnetic pole flip. This would actually be really interesting. I wonder how many animals use the magnetic field for navigation, and will they be confused when it happens? When it happens. Sorry, what? I didn't know about this. When will this happen? Why? The Earth's poles are in the early stages of a flip. The Earth's magnetic field was roughly double what it is today about 2,000 years ago. In another 2,000 years, it will be around zero. At that point, the field will get weird and there will be more than one north and one south pole. Then it will get stronger, but compasses will now point south instead of north. Does the fact that it was double somehow change anything about daily life back then? Not that anybody knows of. Some animals use magnetic particles as part of their navigation system. It may have worked better back then. The North Pole wanders around some. I don't know if anyone has documented animal migration changes, but it is a very interesting question. If I may, what we now know as magnetic north moved around. The North Pole has mostly been in the same place. You are most correct, the North rotational pole doesn't move much, but the magnetic pole is a bit of a vagabond. Sometimes I randomly think about what it would be like if this happened, or I think about some weird cosmic disaster happening and the Earth just explodes into space particles and I give myself a quick little panic attack. The Earth's poles have flipped numerous times in human history. That's how they date pottery. Well, I'll chuck that one out of the random panic daydream list. Not so fast. The poles have flipped in human history, yes, but not since we started using compasses in planes and missiles and cars. A pole flip right now could really cause some Y2K style damage. I would like to see humans leaving the solar system. Or, I would like to see the highways fixed without multi-year rollouts, making it the safest job you can have in America. Solar system, here we come. To the edge of infinity and beyond. Life evolving on other planets. If it happens, it'll be so weird and wild compared to Earth, since the environments would likely be pretty different. Then again, there's always the deep sea if you want to look at incredibly alien-looking creatures. When they have to adapt to such a different environment than our own, they're going to look pretty strange. Look for Cambrian animal pictures. You'll see how different life can be in the same planet in similar conditions when given the time. 1-meter-long shrimps with spider-like fangs, 5-eyed arthropods, worms with spines, and, of course, the Tully monster. Life will never be the same twice, even in the same planet, unless we're talking about convergent evolution and carcinization, then life can get pretty dang similar very often. Life is a weird little thing, isn't it? It's universally known that life everywhere is the same, just different forehead ridges. Humans leaving the solar system for the first time. It took Voyager 1, 35 Earth years to leave the solar system. It travels at roughly 38,000 miles per hour. It's currently in its 43rd year of travel and is in interstellar space. This reads as it was written by Voyager bot. Good bot. We are all Voyager bots except for you. That's because it was launched to see the outer planets. What if we just launched the humans perpendicular to the ecliptic? You'd be farther away from the solar system faster, I reckon. The humans would be sent to their impending doom, but original poster will be able to witness humans leave the solar system. A small price to pay. Just what happens? I want to know what happens to all of us in 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years. If given the opportunity, I'd time travel forward, not back. Whatever happens will be crazy. I never really thought deep about the day becoming a reality. Will we move to another planet? Will a virus take us out? Meteor? If we survive all of that and do populate Mars one day, the sun will still inevitably die. And if we haven't figured out how to populate outside of the solar system by then humanity is gone for good. What's wild is it isn't if, but when? This probably has already happened many times to other civilizations deep in the universe. Even on a smaller scale like everyday life, imagine all the technology and all the magical things that could be around. The future, even 100 years from now, could be a very, very different world. There is a 1920s film about life in 2020 which was really interesting to watch and see what they thought our everyday would look like: flying cars and a planet of cities, if I remember rightly. There is another one made in the 60s which showed the family home of the future, which was pretty much spot on. Bill Gates once said, "Humankind tends to underestimate the near future and overestimate the far future." I don't think he is right all the time, but I do find it interesting to see what our ancestors thought we would live like. YouTube link. Betelgeuse being the most bright object in the night sky, F me for not being alive to see this. It's possible. It could blow tomorrow or in a million years, we just don't know for sure. Maybe it already did, but the light will take hundreds of years to reach our solar system. What's not to say it happened a few hundred years ago and it'll be visible these next few days? So there is actually a mechanism for us to know this is called SNOOS, or the supernova early warning system. Basically, during the complex reactions going on shortly before a star goes supernova, the photons, light, interact electromagnetically with all the other churning matter, meaning it actually takes a long time for the energy burst from the center of the star to escape the surface and travel through space towards us as a photon. However, this is not true for neutrinos, who do not interact electromagnetically. Therefore, with a network of neutrino detectors, we can detect surges in radiation indicating a supernova before the light reaches us. Hopefully an astrophysicist can double-check me here, but I believe this difference between the neutrino surge and actual supernova is to the order of magnitude of a few weeks, even months. So not a crazy long amount of time, but a significant heads up. Astronomer here. You're right about the idea but wrong about the timing. We expect the neutrinos to arrive within hours, not days to months. We actually know this thanks to SN 1987A, the closest supernova to the Earth since the invention of the telescope, which went off in the Large Magellanic Cloud, 170,000 light-years distant. Its light reached us on February 24, 1987, and it was the first time we caught the rise of a supernova, so know just how the light part played out. It was also the first time we saw neutrinos from another object outside our solar system, as 3 neutrino detectors saw them within a second or so, and it was a few hours before the light curve rise. Not days or weeks. Finally, you can sign up for snooze alerts if you want. Web link. Not an astrophysicist, but I thought about it for a while, and you're right. As an astrophysicist, or studying to be one, I don't have a clue if they're right. I considered studying physics, but after checking the syllabus, I understood it would take years of studying to get to the really interesting stuff. Watching YouTube videos is easier. Watching YouTube was how we learned in first year, unfortunately not the interesting stuff. There is actually a website where you can sign up for a newsletter in case it ever happens. Don't have a link though, but should be easily Googled. Hale-Bopp Comet. Projected next viewing in 4380. Yeah, I'll be long gone. I saw it in Halley's back in 1986 when I was like 5 years old. I didn't really understand the significance at the time, but I remember people being all excited about it, and saying it would be like 76 years before we would see it again. Fun fact, there was a group of Hale-Bopp cultists that killed themselves the last time it came around. They were an odd bunch. Among the dead was Thomas Nichols, brother of the actress, who is best known for her role as in the original television series of Web link. Heaven's Gate. One of their members is still alive, operating their original website, and responding to emails as of today. Seems like one of the lesser committed ones. If you operate within their effed up beliefs, they were the most dedicated. Either stay trapped in prison to keep fighting the good fight, or get on the paradise boat. They chose to stay. Checked box, get praised by my cult buddies for being dedicated to the cause. Checkbox, get to outlive them by several decades because I didn't want to die for the cause. Is it the Heaven's Gate cult? Their website is still online. Web link. Weird coincidence this comes up today, and today is the 24th anniversary of their departure. AKA suicide. Even weirder that the footer contains a link or position against suicide. The site's content aside, that looks hideous by today's standards, but there'll always be a place in my heart for mid/late 1990s web design. It's the internet I started with. The collision of the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies. I will posthumously be hyped for Milkdromeda. Not me, I'm galactose intolerant. The greatest thing about this pun is that galactose is an actual constituent of milk, lactose is made from it, among other things. Where different animals are going with the fact that many of them, especially crows, have officially entered the Stone Age. Crows have officially entered the Stone Age. Okay, so I was confused what you meant. Turns out crows use tools and pass this information down to younger generations. That's super cool. Web link. In like 50 years they will be driving little crow cars. And when they eventually make their version of Half-Life, Crow Gordon will swing a man bar. Looks like the crows will make Bully 2 before we will. Crows and raccoons are very intelligent animals that aren't recognized as such nearly as often as monkeys, gorillas, etc. At the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, we weren't allowed to talk by the crow cages because they can learn to talk so fast, and quite a few of the vet students were scared of how smart they were. Also, pigeons are friendly as heck. They try to escape their cages to sit in your lap for cuddles. Since they're so big, they usually spent time outside of the incubators to not overheat and ended up getting babied a bit extra, especially since they had bad aim and were more likely to need assistance eating. So freaking soft. Very malnourished birds end up growing their adult feathers in while their body is small, so they look like borbs. Think blue jay with adult feathers and half of the normal size. Ball of malnourished fluff, basically. They didn't have enough strength to swallow food at first, but as the day went on, they were eating normally and happy burbs. The crows in my neighborhood have learned to quack to trick me into filling up my pet duck's food dish. You clearly have more pet ducks. These ones are just a bit more free range. Crows won't ever make it very far. Their lifespan is too short and their ability to manipulate objects is too limited. Octopi have the same lifespan issue, so they are unlikely to advance far as well. The smart money, is on raccoons. They have a good lifespan, a great ability to manipulate their environment, and they are omnivores. Not to mention an uncanny ability to judge situations. When they scamper onto my porch and I holler at them to go, they don't run. They eye me up with a look that clearly says, "Your lazy ass isn't putting that joint down to come get me," and they're absolutely right. My dad swears to this day that a neighborhood raccoon got his attention somehow and then pointed at him to open the trash for him. Someone had put a box on top that was quite heavy. Dad of course looks around to make sure the raccoon is talking to him. He states he walked slowly towards the trash can and removed the box and then opened the lid for it. The entire time fearing it would attack him. No such thing happened though, and the raccoon then proceeded to go about his business digging for goods. I can tell this family story will be passed on for generations to come. I gave up on our deer in our backyard years ago. I'm pretty sure if I tried, I could hand feed them. They just mosey on into our yard and give me a yo, line nod, and go about crafting on my lawn, effing with my shrubbery, and maybe just bashing about the netting on the garden for no good reason. Then I get another nod and they move on. The squirrels though, man, they are up to something. Like pre-pandemic, my wife looked at me as a crazy person when I said so, but now, she is starting to see the light. Edit, I'm not a crazy person, I swear, but I think they are going out of their way to not let us onto stuff. Thanks for the laugh. Trash pandas are smart little bastards. Although, when they die at the bottom of your empty garbage can in the summer heat, it's an unpleasant cleanup that involves a shovel. Pro tip, when you leave town for a pleasant vacation, be sure to put your empty garbage can in the garage. Poor little fella. You just reminded me of this weird book I found in a free book box once. It was about a guy who goes spelunking, and when he comes out of the cave finds the previously developed woodland totally wild, with no trail. Then he comes across a giant raccoon guy fishing on a river who rides an alpaca or something, and it turns out he's in a world where humans don't exist. Instead it's raccoon people. I think it was called The Architects of Sleep, and the guy stopped writing the planned trilogy because he was so disgusted by all the furry fan mail he received for it. Experimental proof of string theory is correct. Wait, which theory is this? String theory is that quarks, which make up atoms, are actually made by smaller particles called strings. These strings are kind of electric energy that crosses multiple dimensions and as it does picks up attributes that lead it to be this or that. These strings resonate and an atomic particle is formed in our dimension. Edit. Thanks for the awards, kind strangers. If I remember right, that's an outdated version of the theory. Now we have superstring theory. Professor Copeland breaks it down in this 3-part video series. YouTube link. You mind summarizing all that in one sentence for me, dog? The universe is a guitar and its music is matter. Never going to hear the end of this from my bard. F. Strings go brrr. I don't understand string theory in any way, shape, or form, but this made me laugh. Silly string theory. A cure for type 1 diabetes. I've had it since I was 3. Edit. Type 1 is an autoimmune disease that cannot be prevented. Type 2 is the one associated with diet and weight problems. Ah, this was my answer before even opening the thread. Diabetes is a horrible disease. People really have no idea how bad it is. It's not the finger pricks and injections, that's the easiest part. The mental health side of it is the worst for me. And no matter how hard you try, and how perfectly you handle it, something always goes wrong. I hope we at least get some better and more accurate, and affordable, technology in the next few years. Just the fact that I'll have it for the rest of my life is what does it. My future hope would be that we would be able to clone organs, not whole bodies like in some movies, and because of ethical concerns. They can take your pancreas cell or a stem cell, fix the genetic defect, and then grow a replacement pancreas. There is a company I work with directly called Bigfoot Biomedical that is on the cusp of making a fully artificial pancreas. I doubt there will ever be a cure, but we are getting closer every day to living a life free of finger sticks and injections. My son was diagnosed at 17 and a year later, I don't recall the last time he did a finger stick and the last time he injected was his own fault, forgot his vials so couldn't fill his pump. We had to get the Walmart insulin for a couple days. I, too, would be happy with affordable insulin in the short term. But I really think we'll have fully closed loop, don't have to tell the pump how much you are eating, systems in the next 5 to 8 years and possibly an implanted pancreas within 12 to 15 years. That means, by the time my son is 30 to 35 years old, he may not need to do much, if anything, to control his diabetes. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.